Okay, guys, we are live, and I appreciate you joining me. I will go over super chats at the end of this, and I will deal with the super chats that I didn't deal with on my last couple live streams because I was in a situation where. Let me stop my feedback here. Okay, feedback stopped. How you guys doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Yesterday, I had a live stream with on the American Joe Show channel, and now I got some heat for appearing on that channel because people are like, "Why are you appearing on a status channel? Don't you know he's a status gatekeeper?" My philosophy toward life is this: it's kind of a Samuel Adams philosophy. It's not the majority who will prevail, but the irate and tireless minority who are keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. What if we all had that objective? What if we all had the objective of, I want to set a brush fire of freedom in the minds of my neighbor, in the mind of people go see in the grocery store, anybody in my zone of influence, people I go to the gym with. I want to set a brush fire of freedom and just maybe a spark of positivity in this life. What would be wrong with that? And in order to do that, you have to expose yourself to people you might not agree with. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you have to come down to their level, but you're constantly trying to raise the bar, raise the standard for society, create some kind of a reputation based society. Am I even live right now? Looks like is it frozen? Give me a thumbs up if I'm live. I don't even know. I don't have my glasses on. Let's see. Looks like people are in here. Yeah, somebody said that's called debate. Okay, cool. All right, I just didn't want to waste your time by like. No, the screen's not frozen. It was just me. So anyway, you have to expose yourself to people if you want to set brush fires of freedom in their minds. So I don't. Another precept I try to live by is truth fears no scrutiny. If you are standing on the bedrock of truth and morality, what do you have to fear? So what if somebody from the outside goes, "Well, you're associated with that person. I saw you riding on the bus with that person, or I saw you appear on somebody's live stream. You must consent to the garbage they propagate." No, guys, you have to expose yourself to a whole bunch of people so that you can set those brush fires of freedom. So for people to give other people a hard time because of the people they choose to associate with or try to influence positively in some way. And I am not saying that I am the pinnacle of truth and morality or anything like that. I'm on a journey just like you guys, and we all have something to learn. I learn a ton of stuff from my audience, people who view my channel, people who leave comments, people who email me. Aren't you constantly learning? That's kind of a part and parcel of life, is you just learn things and you grow in maturity as a human being. You become a better person, a more compassionate individual, more empathy. We should never stay stagnant. If you stop learning, haven't you kind of died? So anyway, I'm always learning. I learn also from people who have status mindset, status ideologies. But I, I think that I gave the wrong impression when I quoted former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger when he said, "Military man." This is Henry Kissinger saying this. Okay, I do not. This is not me saying this. Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State of the United States, said military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy. And a lot of people who are ex-military, military vets, maybe in the military, took great offense at that. But here's the context in which I said it. So I'm gonna play a clip of the live stream from yesterday with the American Joe Show, and you should watch it. It's 2 hours, but if you're driving down the road, listen to it. It's actually pretty interesting what people are saying. The responses given. Sam, who's the executive director for the Gun Owners of America in California, Sam Paredes, I think his name is, had a lot of good things to say. So I like to listen, even if people are in error on what they say. You can learn from somebody's error. You can learn from somebody else's mistake. You can learn from somebody else's bad ideology. I've studied, socialism or communism. You can learn a lot from reading, what was that guy's name? Hitler's right-hand man. Herman Goring had a lot of like nuggets of truth to say. He applied them in an evil manner, but that doesn't mean you can't take away some things. It's like, you know what? Like rationally, logically speaking, there's a lot of truth there. So you mine the truth and you throw away the dross. It's kind of like how you purify gold or silver. When you get it out of the ground, you put it into the what's it called, the crucible, and you melt off all the bad stuff, and all the bad stuff rises to the top, and you skim it off. It's called dross, and you get rid of all that dross, and then you're left with that 0.999% gold or silver. That's the way we should be. That's the way our character should be. It's just skim off the dross, but you have to go into the crucible, and sometimes it's painful. It's painful to be the only person in your neighborhood or in your community who's speaking the truth, because you look like a conspiracy theorist, and then they start calling you names and they start trying to criticize you, and then the ad hominems come out, and it becomes very unproductive. But even that can become a learning experience if you use it in your favor and you look at it from a positive, truth-based, logic-based, a golden rule-based viewpoint. And that's what I'm trying to do here on this channel, is try to spread that brush fire freedom. So listen to this. I'm going to turn this light off so you don't see much of a glare. And let me get this squared away. Now, here's what I said in the full context of the Kissinger statement.
My closing statement would be the takeaway, and statistically, most people won't digest this or internalize this, but it's the truth. If we don't stand together, we're going to hang separately, and that's the bottom line. Yeah. But what we need to stand on is truth, logic, love, and basic human compassion. It's the golden rule. We got to stand on the golden rule. Do to others what we would want others to do to us, and conversely, don't do to others what we wouldn't want done to us. It's very, very simple. Just like, that's why I like shall not be infringed. It's super simple. Anybody who transgresses that is your enemy. Anybody who transgresses the golden rule is your enemy. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. If another human being transgresses, do to others, or do not do to others what you wouldn't want done to you, is your enemy. And it's not a Republican or Democrat left versus right paradigm thing. That's a dog and pony show that keeps us deceived, divided, distracted, and frankly, immoral. And see, politics is nothing more, nothing less than the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. Because the bottom line is, we are no less slaves because we are allowed to vote for a new plantation owner once in the course of years. You know, Republican or Democrat, the bottom line is they're a plantation owner, and Republican and Democrat, whether you call them Republican in name only or whatever, it literally results in getting the Federal Reserve. It results in the IRS. It results in the income tax. Voting gets us endless wars. Voting results in the erosion of our rights. Every single time, if somebody can prove me wrong, let me know. But it hasn't slowed down. Voting actually results in transgenerational debt slavery that we wouldn't have if we didn't allow ourselves to get into the left versus right paradigm lie, which resulted in $120 to $150 trillion worth of transgenerational debt slavery if you count unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare. And let's remember something about our vets too, our veterans. Henry Kissinger, the former Secretary of State, said, and I quote, "Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy." If there was anybody in politics we ever should have listened to get us out of these entangling alliances and foreign wars, it was Ron Paul, and we know what they did to Ron Paul. And
all right, so my context for saying what I said about Kissinger saying that military men are like dumb, stupid animals was it was being propagated. Hey, we got to change this country. We got to vote for Republicans. Make sure you're voting for Republican. Make sure you vote conservative. My point was, voting does nothing but results in evil men like Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State, who literally looks at military men as dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy. That's what our leaders think about military men. I don't know how high up the chain it goes, but Smedley Butler, former Major General Smedley Butler, wrote a booklet called War is a Racket, and said basically he was used as a high profile, he was used as a major general. He was the highest ranking Marine at that time. And he said he was used as a high-class muscle man for big business, for corporate entities. And now they're being used for the Federal Reserve. you couldn't find a much higher above board. And when I say above board, I mean this side of the curtain, because there are people on the other side of the curtain who are really controlling things. The people you don't even know what their names are. But Henry Kissinger, it'd be hard for you to find somebody higher up on the Zionist food chain than Henry Kissinger. And that's what he thought. And that's what he still, I can't remember if Henry Kissinger died or not, but if he's still alive, that's what he still thinks about military men. They're dumb animals made to be used as pawns for foreign policy. That's what people who get the ring of power think about you. And you're going to go to the voting booth and think you're going to change anything? They'll just put another puppet on the same hand. That's all it is. And when you go to the voting box, that's why I get this shirt that says voting is the slave's suggestion box. It doesn't matter if you're allowed to vote. You're still a slave on the plantation. And you're voting for a plantation owner, not only to control you, but to control everybody else. And somebody pointed out to me, yeah, the majority is basically ruling in that scenario. And I always say the 59% ruling over the 49%. It's really the 50.1%, because all you have to do is have a majority. The 50.1% ruling over the 49.9%. And I'm kind of rethinking this thing where, people are constantly going, we need to protect our democracy, fight for our democracy. This is a democracy. You saw I played a compilation of just people constantly saying that we're a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional representative republic. But I was talking to my girlfriend today. What does it even matter on that either? It's still majority rule. Democracy is a majority rule scenario. Like Benjamin Franklin said, a democracy is two wolves and one lamb sitting down and deciding on what to have for dinner. Well, guess what you're going to have for dinner unless that lamb is well armed? You're going to have the lamb. You're going to have lamb chops that night. He's dead. The wolves win because they're the majority. Same thing with the representative constitutional republic. It still boils down to the majority has it. And even in our presidential elections, when the majority won, the majority basically decided they want Hillary Clinton to rule over them. But the Electoral College said, no, it goes to Donald Trump. It's still about the majority. It's the higher number gets that vote. It's the higher number takes control. The higher number grabs the ring of power. The higher number is that guy who sits in that seat and says, military men are dumb, stupid animals made for just as pawns. We can push them around like pawns on a chessboard for our foreign policy. And our foreign policy benefits us. It doesn't benefit you. And like Smedley Butler said, war is a racket. It does not benefit the infantryman in the foxhole, shivering, wondering if it's his time to get a bullet in the head. It's all about every war is a banker war, guys. It doesn't matter who you vote for. So when I say that I want to set brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, and I don't mind being around statists to do it, I mean that. That our objective should be to change the mindset of humanity, because the way we make ourselves free is if I help you be free, and then you turn around and help me be free, and then it's reciprocal. And then you have a brush fire of freedom in your mind, I have a brush fire of freedom in my mind, and then we go out together and we set brush fires of freedom in other people's minds, then we can be truly free. If you're free in your mind, but your neighbors physically want you enslaved, guess what? You're going to be enslaved. That's how important this thing is. So people are always like, you're always talking about freedom. You're always talking about liberty. You're always talking about opening people's minds to the truth. Oh God, can you talk about anything else? How about Roblox? Why don't we talk about Candy Cruisers or whatever that stupid, whatever that game is? What's that game, babe? I always get that wrong. Candy something? I don't know. Candyland? I don't know. We're not gamers. Whatever it is. Candyland doesn't sound right. What is it? Candy what? Oh, Crush. Candy Crush. Yeah.
Talking about a board game, hun.
People are like, yeah, board game? Yeah. I know, we are checked out. You can't have anything if you don't have freedom. And if you don't have freedom, I'm not going to have freedom. Maybe it's a selfish motive. I just want you to be free. And on the other hand, it's not a selfish motive. It's a moral motive. So when I was talking with these guys and they were pushing, yeah, you got to vote for your representatives. That'll change everything. We can correct these gun laws. Guys, what I tried to point out to them yesterday is it doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. We have the most unpatriotic legislation you could ever imagine coming down the pike, foisted on American citizens to literally arrest them everywhere they go is the Patriot Act. Nothing was more unpatriotic. The Patriot Act spawned the Department of Homeland Security, $47.9 billion every single year we use for the Department of Homeland Security. And here's the cognitive dissonance. Because the left versus right paradigm lie is so freaking powerful, you can have somebody on the other side of the aisle from you, say a leftist liberal retard, which, come on, let's face it, they are. They are. You got AOC going, we need to eliminate the Department of Homeland Security. And then the people on the right going, you know what AOC said? She's so brain dead. She thinks we need to eliminate the Department of Homeland Security. Guess what? She's right. You basically eliminate the Gestapo when you eliminate the Department of Homeland Security. Does that make AOC any less out to lunch? No, she's completely out to lunch. She is in the authoritarian statist mindset as much so as the person who's defending the freaking Department of Homeland Security, which spawned TSA. That's $9 billion a year, and all that is security theater. It's to make you feel like you're more safe. Do you feel like you're more safe when you get on that airplane? Well, guess what? Federal red team tests that go through the TSA, and they're packing heat, they're packing guns with full magazines in them, and explosives, try to make their way onto departing flights. Guess what their red team tests have indicated? That 95% of guns and bombs make their way onto departing flights through the TSA. That's their own red team tests. And CNN even covered it. MSLSD covered it. It's not a secret. You can look at this. So basically, it's $9 billion we flushed down the toilet while we're arrested. We're taking away the Fourth Amendment rights of American citizens to make us feel safe because we're snowflakes. And as long as they feel safe, that's okay. But the guy next to you could be a total criminal with a bomb strapped to his torso. So do you feel safe yet? Patriot Act, that came about through a Republican, George W. Bush. 2001, Patriot Act, arrested. People go, well, if we can get some chief justices in there that are conservative and Republican, we'll defeat this the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare. Guess why we had Obamacare? Because of Chief Justice John Roberts, who was appointed by a Republican. He was himself a Republican, and your layer of Republican and conservatism did absolutely no good and foisted on you Obamacare. Tell me voting counts. Tell me voting matters. Look at the national debt, $22 trillion. If you count unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare, $120 to $150 trillion in debt. Tell me voting matters. Look at our endless wars. How many years have we been at war in the last 248 years of our history? Like 95% of it. Tell me voting matters. Look at the IRS domestic terror cell still having its way with every single person who doesn't pay their taxes. Tell me voting matters. Look at your property taxes. You still pay property taxes, don't you? Find out what happens if you don't pay property taxes. Tell me voting matters. Tell me voting really, really matters. All you're doing is shifting puppets on the same exact hand. The Federal Reserve will still be in control, and you can watch the debates all you want, but they'll never talk about anything substantive because nobody's going to touch the Federal Reserve. Why? Because they're in the back pocket of the Federal Reserve. Oh, sure, they may say, we need to audit the Federal Reserve. We need to ask them what they're doing with all their money. We need to ask the Federal Reserve to conduct an own internal investigation on themselves and get back with us and tell us what they've found. We already know the Federal Reserve is corrupt. When you have a ladle that is worldwide and you can dip into the pool of fiat currency and fund any war you want to, what's going to stop madmen from doing that? Nothing. And so people are like, no, we need government. Okay, and then you ask them, well, why do we need government? Because there are bad people out there who will do bad things to us, and we need the government to protect us. Okay, so you just argued against government. Because if there are bad people out there doing bad things to us, the last thing you want to give those bad people is a monopoly on force and violence and fraud and theft and coercion. That's the last thing you want. So I'm going to try to keep this video short, but I do not think military men are dumb, stupid animals made to be used as pawns for foreign policy. That was Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, and every Zionist bootlicker thinks that about you, military men. I personally think, and don't get me wrong when I say this, because there's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. We are all ignorant of a lot of things. And I think a lot of people sign up into the military. A lot of people have a good heart. There are more people that have good hearts, I think, than people who have bad hearts. But I think people sign up to the military and really think that they're fighting for our freedoms. They call it democracy, but let's just say freedom. They're thinking, they're in the mindset that they're sincere. They sincerely think they're fighting for our freedoms. But you guys are sincerely wrong. If you don't want to take my word for it, I have a free ebook called, and I'll send it. I'll tell you what. In the next 24 hours, if you're on my email list, I'll just send out this free ebook called, and you, if you've already gotten it, sorry, just throw this second one away. But it's called "War is a Racket" by Major General Smedley Butler, the highest-ranking U.S. Marine in history of that time. He said, "War is a racket." If you want to find out the internal workings from a high-ranking military individual, read Smedley Butler's War is a Racket. To get on my email list is through my website, highimpactflix.com. Just go to the right-hand side, just click, put your name and email address and subscribe. Make sure you confirm the email or you're not going to get the ebook, and I'll just send it out. You read it for yourself. You tell me what you think. There's a lot of military guys, high-ranking military guys who have been out there exposing what the military is all about. It's not the Department of Defense, guys. There's nothing wrong with defensive force. Somebody comes into my house and threatens my girlfriend's life, I'm going to lay down my life to make sure her life is preserved. Nothing wrong with defensive force. But they shouldn't call it the Department of Defense. They should call it the Department of Offense. The Pentagon is your enemy. Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex. If you get a guy in office who beefs up the funding for the military-industrial complex, he is your enemy. Let's see, who did that? Who beefed up the military-industrial complex when they got into office? Oh, Clinton did it. He's your enemy. Oh, George H.W. Bush did it. He's your enemy. Or George W. Bush did it. He's your enemy. Barack Obama did it. He's your enemy. And Donald Trump did it. He's your enemy. Anybody who's for the military-industrial complex and increasing funding for the military-industrial complex is your enemy. Does that hurt your feelings? Gosh, I sure am sorry. I'm not trying to do that. But you need to wake up. So there's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. I think most military men do not know what's going on. And if you want to learn what's going on, read Smedley Butler's book, War is a Racket. It's a very short booklet. I think it's like 56 or 65 pages or something like that. It's a very easy read. Very, very intriguing, very interesting. It will keep your attention. And all the way through it, you're like, every turn of the page is like, what the? It's being used by the military-industrial complex. And this is not a country anymore. It's a corporation. It hasn't been a country for a long time. We can call it a country. We can deceive ourselves all the time when we want to. But Title 28, Section 3002, 15A, the United States means federal corporation. This is a corporate entity. So when our flag flies on foreign soil, a lot of people are looking at that flag just like we would look at the Nazi swastika. We are out there terrorizing people in the name of democracy. That's the truth. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But if truth is offensive, see, truth is interesting. You either fall on truth and let it break you to pieces and reassemble you, or you let it fall on you and crush you. Because truth is going to be truth. And truth doesn't care who you are, what color your skin is, or what background you have, or how poor you were, or how bad you had it, or how rich you are. Truth is truth. And government is built on a pack of lies. And if you go to the voting booth, what you're literally doing is, I consent to the game of a pack of lies run by a pack of wolves and liars who think that military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns for foreign policy. That's what you're saying. Whether you think you're saying it or not, doesn't matter. Whether you think you're pushing that button and pulling that lever so that you can be more free, no, that's not what you're doing. You're actually calling for a ruler to rule not only over you, but over other people. So you're actually calling for the initiation of unjust force and violence on peaceful people who do not agree with your position and do not consent to what what the laws you're trying to foist on them. Laws. The opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. So let me go over some of these super chats from last time because I promised that I would. One super chat that I just saw was very interesting. Sorry, I don't have my tripod here, so appreciate you guys hanging out. What's the book again? It is Major Smedley Butler, War is a Racket. Moron. Am I a moron? Who are you calling a moron? All right, here's some super chats. This is from Gordy Gab 3R McKenzie. He says, dude, I've been posting a lot about gun laws online, and the freaking cops just showed up at my house saying they got a call. That if that's true, man, that is super, super messed up. I would like to know more about that, Gordy. If you're in the room, I don't know, maybe give us some more details. Send me an email. Yeah, hit the like button, guys, if you can. Hitting the like button and the share button really helps channels like this out a lot since we are definitely suppressed. Mighty Dragon says, thank you for reaching out on Twitter. I want you to see something. I don't know if Mighty Dragon is in the room right now, but let me show you something. This is very interesting. I'm going to do a separate video on this. This is a tweet I got from Mighty Dragon. It says, YouTube suspended my account. I don't know if you can see this. Let me turn my... let's see. Hopefully you can see this. YouTube suspended my account for posting this video, which simply shows historical documents. My account has been in good standing for over 13 years. It's not hate speech if your intentions, he's talking to YouTube here. If your intentions are to stop hate with this censorship, you're failing miserably. Truth. This video right here, it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. Guys, all he does is read New York Times articles pre-Adolf. I'm not going to say the word because the algos will pick pre-Adolf. You know what I'm saying there? He's reading these. I can't even say the number. I can't even, because the algos will pick me up. But what I'll probably do is do a recording of that recording and show you guys. This is absolutely fascinating. He's reading the New Yorker and the New York Times from like 1914, 1918, just reading the articles. And he was in good standing with YouTube and got his channel completely taken down reading articles that don't toe the, God, I can't even say the H word. It's about bagels. It's about the bagel factory. I got to be super careful. You got to be in this area of censorship because I'm live right now, so I'm not going to be able to bleep out what I'm saying. But I hope you guys get what I'm saying, and I'll go over that. So I might go to Mighty Dragon and follow him on Twitter. He's actually got a lot of really good information on his Twitter account. So let me read some more super chats, and then we'll be done. Coffee and Carnage says that all happened to hit every Democrat bullet point manifesto, white national. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. High capacity military grade assault style, fully automatic, semi-automatic rifle purchased legally. This was the video we were talking about when that whole thing went down in Philly. And Coffee and Carnage also says the Second Amendment is to protect us from the tyrannical government that keeps putting the. Oh, he basically censored himself, but I think you know what he's saying. Snap Turtle says, "Don't be surprised. It might be a man. Can I even say black guy? It's amazing. We live in a day and age where you got to censor yourself for stupid crap, or you're going to get your channel taken down. They need to push the black identity extremist narrative as well. Why not use both?" So thank you guys for all the super chats. Anyway, the takeaway for this video is I don't personally think military men are dumb, stupid animals made to be used as pawns for foreign policy. That was Henry Kissinger who said that, and that's what leaders think about people who fight in the military. They're nothing more than just, collateral damage, expendables. Yeah, we'll get some more people to fill your boots if you get blown up by an IED. We'll get some more military grade industrial equipment and throw your way, and some more depleted uranium bullets. So even if you don't die from getting hit by a bullet, you'll die because of the exposure to the bullets. It's horrible. War is hell. War is a racket, and the whole thing that causes this is the brain matter between your ears. We really believe in the legitimacy of government, and we really need to quit that. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. Make it a great day, not only for yourselves, but also for everybody in your zone of influence. See ya.